Hey guys, thanks for tuning into today's video. My name is Frankie and I'm going to show you how to do an easy latte fall makeup look. So start the look with your favorite foundation, however you want to do that, and then go in with a nice warm cream bronzer. I like to bring it right onto the apple of my cheeks because I'm giving myself more of like that sun-kissed look and not so much of a definition contoured look. And then you're going to hit right on the forehead here where the sun would hit you. And then the tip of the nose, right on where like the bridge would go here, and then underneath. And a little bit under the lip. And then you're gonna go ahead and use a beauty blender or your brush, whatever you're gonna use to blend it all in. Okay, now that you have your cream bronzer all blended into your foundation, you're gonna wanna find a blush that has more of a caramelly, peachy brown undertone to it. So I'm gonna use the Milani Cheek Kiss. This is the liquid blush in the shade 110 Nude Flush. This is one of my favorites. It's super pretty and it's a little bit thin when you put it on, so you can put more than you think. So I'll show you just a little bit. You can see how kind of sheer it goes on. And then I'm gonna bring it up into my brow. Just the tail of the brow. And into the tail of the brow again. Then you're gonna hit the tip of the bridge of the nose here again, just with a little bit of the blush. And then you're gonna find your concealer. So for concealer, I'm using the Maybelline Superstay Activewear. This is in the shade 05, and I'm just gonna put a little bit in the corner here. A little bit on the chin, tip of the nose, a little bit on the forehead. And I'm gonna hit the eyelid area to prep it for eyeshadow. So now this part is super important if you plan on doing eyeshadow after you do the foundation. Normally I typically do it before. I do all my eyes before so I don't have any fallout, but today I did it backwards. So I'm going to go ahead and set under the eyes and leave a bunch of powder because I'm gonna be using a darker brown, and when you use darker brown, it's gonna fall out. So I don't want that. Whew, that was a lot of powder. I don't want powder to have to like smudge all over my foundation. So set your eyes, leave it on there. We're gonna move on to the eyes now. So I'm going to use the NT Neutral Territory palette from Morphe. This just has a lot of nice neutral colors to it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and set the entire area with the lightest shade here. And just kind of tap it in there. I'm gonna go ahead and tap into this really light shade here. And then just tap. And then swipe more into like the eye crease here. So this part is kind of important if you're really into doing eyeshadow looks, but it's completely okay if you don't have two brushes. I always recommend to have a big fluffy brush. This is the M441 from Morphe. This is my favorite for getting the product really lightly all over the lid. You do not need a lot of pressure. You're more or less just tapping it in and then just very lightly buffing it with the lightest pressure. And then when I want more product, I'm gonna go in with, this is the JH40, it's the Jaclyn Hill Morphe one. I have a bunch more of the other ones though, let me find it. Okay, so this is typically the brush that I carry. I have about like 10 of them, and I use them for all of my makeup applications on clients, but like on myself as well. This is my favorite brush. So if you were to have any makeup brush in your kit, this would be it. It's the M506 from Morphe, and it's the perfect little small to medium blending brush. So just like the other one, they're pretty similar. So I'm gonna go ahead and tap into this caramel brown right here. And then just tap it right on the corner. And slightly buff it halfway to 3/4 in the eye crease. when it comes down to it, when you're doing your own makeup and you're worried that you put too much on or it's just not looking great, it's not blending in nicely, we always say, when in doubt, blend it out. So just keep swiping and doing very small circles with very, very gentle pressure. And this is gonna work like you're buffing basically a vehicle and you're kind of waxing it on to the vehicle. You're going to start taking out all those little imperfections, and that's what we're doing here. So keep buffing, keep blending, and eventually you're going to get that even complexion that you're looking for. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side again. So we're gonna use this caramel brown and just tap it on the outside. It's always better if you start with less product too. So if you're not experienced with using eyeshadow, go ahead and use less and then keep blending and building in more and more pigment. It's makeup, have fun with it. You can never really go wrong with it. So then I'm gonna take the fluffy brush and tap it into the caramel and go ahead and buff and blend it out. So when you are blending it out, I always blend it outwards and up into like the eyebrow area. So you're kind of going like a tornado swirl into the tail. You always want to like bring it upwards and like lift your eye. Try not to bring it too far down onto your cheek. So now some people probably don't like shimmer and some people do. So if you're not doing shimmer, you can go ahead and just put kind of a lighter powder on the inside. And then tap the middle with the caramel. So you could do it very mattifying. If you like a matte look, you can do that. Or if you want to add in some shimmer, now is the time we would cut with a little bit of concealer and then put some shimmer on it. So first I'll do the other side like this. So just adding in a bit of the very light shadow here. I'm a shimmer person, so I'm probably going to do it with shimmer. And then a little bit of the caramel in the middle. So I'm gonna go ahead and tap in with this kind of coppery. So I'm just using my finger because some shadows that have shimmers in them, shimmer pigments, go on a little bit easier, and even some shimmer pigments you can't even pick up with a brush. So for underneath, I'm gonna go ahead with the caramel and mix it in with the middle medium brown and go underneath. So I'm hitting the outer corner with most of the pigment, and then we're just dragging whatever is left on the brush right into the inside. See how it kind of ombre, so it's not too crazy dark in the inside because we don't want to close in the eye. One way to ensure that you're making everything really even is following the lines of your pupil. So you already know that you've started in the corner of your eye, so if you're meeting it at the pupil when you're looking straight ahead into a mirror, the other side should be just the same. So start from the outside, straight into the pupil. The easiest way to make sure that the bottom is staying dark on one side and then faded out on the inside. That's just one way I would look at it. It's the same as your shimmer, and where kind of like the darkness is starting here, I always kind of find a way to look where my pupil is, and you'll kind of know if the shimmer goes too further on one side than the other. So that's just a little tip. Now I'm gonna take a brown liner. This is the Essence one. We're just gonna take it and just go right on the inner corner of the waterline. So we're keeping it darker on the outside and calm and clean on the inside. So for brows, I'm just going to really lightly fill them in with the Morphe pencil. And then to hold them in place, I'm gonna go ahead and use the brow lift from e.l.f. I'm gonna go ahead and just hit like kind of the tips of them. Okay, once you've got your mascara on, you're gonna go ahead and take now your powder bronzer and just tap it on where you want that. And my favorite part is going right under the eyes because we're keeping it nice and caramelly this entire look. and getting rid of that extra setting powder. Also keeping it very one tone when we're putting a little bit of bronzer underneath the eye. A lot of people do it with like blushes and stuff, and it's just the same goes for bronzer. So swipe underneath. Now when it comes to a highlighter, I'm going to also hit it with a little bit of bronzer mixed in with it. This would take kind of place of where you're going to put your blush, because I'm not going to add any more blush. So for lips, I'm going to use Honeymoon from Morphe. Vinyl ink in the shade Captivated. And then we're gonna top it off with Stone. Such a beautiful lifter gloss from Maybelline as well. Nice and fall makeup look, super easy to do, and you can use any brand, any product. That's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for your support.